Thank you for joining us. Now we are heading towards the end of November, which means that Christmas is around the corner, a time when all over the world people like to spend time with their families. Schools will soon break up, so holidays. People will take leave just so that they can travel over the Christmas period.
And businesses will close down for the year.
Businesses will close down as well so that people can travel. But wait for these stats, which I find very scary. About 4,387 lives were lost due to road traffic accidents in Nigeria during the first 6 months of this year. 4,387 lives.
In 6 months.
In 6 months. This figure translates to an average of 731 fatalities each month, or about 24 lives daily. Every day in this country, 24 people die in road traffic accidents. These are scary figures. The FRSC says factors that contribute to these include night trips, fatigue, route violation, those who drive one way, as we know it here, dangerous overtaking, the use of worn-out tires, overspeeding. All those contribute to these accidents we're talking about. Well, to look at this with us this morning and to proffer, well, even if only temporary solutions that will help us through this season when many of us are going to be on the roads, it's my pleasure to welcome Professor Samuel Odewunmi, Professor of Transport Planning and Policy.
My pleasure to be here, to be part of the discussion to reduce the carnage on our roads.
And also with us is the Corps Commander, Babatunde Farindoye, FRSC Lagos Sector Commander. Good morning.
Good morning.
And joining us from Abuja is the Executive Director of the Center of Sustainable Mobility and Access Development, Dr. Opeifa. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Alero. Good morning, Ayo.
Oh my God.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Your face is not looking like the Mr. Opeifa that we know. Is it as a result of the figures which I just reeled out?
No. He will soon pick the mood now.
Oh dear.
He will pick up.
Dr. Opeifa. Anyway, let me start with the Corps Commander. Commander, sir.
I'm maintaining my lane.
Okay. That's allowed. I mean, most of the traffic seems to be going out of Lagos during this period. People who live in Lagos essentially want to go out of Lagos for the Christmas holidays. How do you think that the carnage can be reduced, especially for those going out of Lagos? Even though we're looking at this topic generally, we're trying to reduce it for the whole nation. Give us some tips.
Yeah, thank you very much. Lagos is like a country in a country, because the population of people coming and going out of Lagos on a daily basis is about 50,000 people. So,
every day?
Every day.
Wow.
About 50,000 vehicles moving in and out of Lagos on a daily basis.
And it will increase during the Yuletide.
It will definitely increase. But the number of people that will be going out during the Yuletide will be more than the people that will be coming in. Because people will be going back to their country home to celebrate with their relations. So during this period, we will expect that socio-economic activity will be at its peak. And what we in FRSC we are advocating is for people to plan ahead of time, so they will not be under pressure. Plan your journey ahead of time so as not to be under pressure. Then another thing is, in Lagos, presently, Lagos State government have been trying to put us on palliatives to ensure that the roads are okay. Those palliatives that they are doing will assist us to ensure free flow of traffic, and we, as the personnel traffic managers, want to ensure that we increase our monitoring and traffic management, to ensure that people are moving freely. There will be no congestion. There should be no congestion, because we put up what we call route lining. We will do traffic management to ensure that the traffic is moving. With number of traffic we have, road safety cannot do it alone. We have LASMA, we have the VIS, we have the police, we have the NSCDC. All of us will come together, and this we have been planning ahead of time to ensure that during this period there's free flow of traffic in Lagos.
Okay. I wanted to just ask, what are some of the habits that you and your men have observed that have led to some of the unfortunate incidents that we've seen in our country? Habits.
Yes. See, the main thing we need to change the narratives on ground is attitudinal change. We need to change our attitude, change our habits. Some of the habits, one is that we have, like, I know this week I was coming back from Ogun State, I saw some uniformed men standing around this corridor, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, looking for commercial vehicle to escort into the city. This will hinder proper checks. This will make people to contravene traffic rules, because you give them the infantry, because they are carrying uniform man inside the vehicle. We have police, we have even road safety. I called one of our operatives and I arrested him there, very close to Mountain of Fire. So others are also doing. If all the other organizations would try to monitor their men and be arresting them, I think this will reduce. That's one of the things. Impunity will set in, because if you are carrying a uniform man, you will believe that you are covered. A fellow uniform man will want to observe what we call esprit de corps, so we allow him to pass. In that situation, proper check will not be done. That person becomes a security risk, because we don't even know what is inside the vehicle. And then any traffic infraction committed must be overlooked. That's one thing that we need to talk about. Then the impunity on the part of the what we call the people we call crime de crime of the society, the high and the mighty. Some of them, because they are high profile people, will be driving against traffic because they're in convoy. Some of them will even cover the number plate. That's another thing. Who are driving against traffic along this Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, they are constituting serious problem for traffic managers. That's another one. Another thing is speeding. People are in the habit of going above recommended speed limit. Although road safety has started enforcing the installation of speed limit device, at least to control the speed of vehicles. Notwithstanding, it is just for the commercial vehicle for now. What is the speed limit? A good number of people, I'm very sure, don't even know. That is and we have different speed for different categories of vehicle on different categories of roads. Okay. We have the expressway. We have for the expressway, for instance, because the road looks very, especially Lagos-Ibadan way, expressway, Lagos-Ibadan expressway, that is an expressway. It should not be more than 100 km/h for cars. And SUVs? For SUV belongs to the same category of car. Okay. Then for trucks, should be around 60. Like trailers should be around 60 km/h. Then tow trucks, the ones that are towing, should be around 45 km/h. Then the buses on the expressway, 90 km/h. No more. Then on the highway, other highways, this single carriageway, it should be, for buses, should not be more than 80 km/h. So if we can observe these speed limits, then accidents will become a thing of the past. Okay, we'll come back to you, Prof. Okay, please take notes. Take notes. Prof, you've listened to him. The thing pressing the most on my mind is that of habits, attitudes that he spoke about. How come those things, in spite of these risky, gory pictures,
how come we seem to be retain our habits almost without even thinking about it?
Well, for the road crashes, we have three groups. If you want to unpack them, there are three variables. And I will not end without mentioning what should be done. We also unpack the three variables that you have to work out to check the first one. Now, three things: the environment, demand, the machine. Environment is about the list, because you talk of the road types, the road design, you know your $10 here. I mean, most of the frequent things that are happening there has to do with the road design and topography. Then environment.
On that one very quickly, what is wrong with that place?
The gradient. You see, when a trailer has to take that gradient and has to be bending at the same time, and you cannot enter it with a speed that will take you. So in most cases, it has to, because you are coming with a curve, then you enter it.
Going down,
so you have to take it very slow, and by that time the load is heavy. So, and I will not go to the second point, which has to do with the machine. Most of those machines are old machines that cannot carry the weight to take it through. So now environment, as I said, the road, the physical road, the topography, then the weather, whether it is raining heavily, the mist and all that. That's the list of the problem. Then the second one is the machine. What state is it? Is it being serviced? Then the mechanical issues, the brake, the steering, the tires especially. Now, if I will pick the most, let me pick two from each. For the environment, the weather is important for feasibility, because the mist, the cloud, and the topography. But for the machine, tires are very, very, very crucial. And when you have tires and speed, that is a terrible combination. It's always fatal when they load into themselves. So for the machine, the service, the age, the mechanical faults that I've mentioned, then the most critical of them.
We'll come to that most critical one.
Yeah.
On the machine, I thought there was a time the federal government banned certain age vehicles. Am I correct?
Yes.
So how come those ones are still on the roads?
When I'm discussing the solution, enforcement is the weakest link in the chain. So now the man, the biggest culprit of because the other ones, if the man is properly wired, he could be an antidote to all the variables. Is training first. Did he have enough training? His state of mind, is he picking alcohol then the pressure. So of all that is wrong with the man, I will pick three. I will pick his training, before how he was licensed to operate the machine. Secondly, I will pick his state of mind. These days, many of them, he is in the field, are on drug of one form or the other. The least is alcohol these days. The least is alcohol. The third one is the mind. Pressure from the economic reasons, and that is the one that will escalate these Ember months. That's the only one. When it injects into it, they are under pressure, economic pressure, social pressure to deliver on time. So they now commit other things by not having time to service the vehicle. Then they overspeed in order to have a quick return. Then you now have Amberman tragedies. So for the last part, which I said is the solution, let's talk 3 E's: education, enlightenment, and enforcement. Because if you do not enforce, like Boboye, the former commander, say you are doing picnic, eventually what controls man is the degree of enforcement, that if I do this thing, I will be apprehended. So that is the layout.
It goes back. Speak to us about that enforcement. Thankfully, the sector commander in Lagos is here, and Mr. Opeifa is also here. Mr. Opeifa is also here. The vehicles were okay. Maybe I should take you to Mr. Opeifa. The vehicles I think it was the federal government that's banned some classes of vehicles from going on air, saying, look, this age of vehicles should not be allowed on the roads. I'm not sure, I remember now whether it's 15 years or 20 years
Can you
old
please give us
vehicles
that information?
should not be on the roads. Okay, it's 20 years.
20 years.
Like that is a vehicle is 20 years old, it shouldn't be on our roads. In other words, any vehicle that was made before 2003 should not be on Nigerian roads. How come we still have a situation where those vehicles are on our roads while we have various classes of traffic enforcement agencies at the federal and state levels?
Dr. Opeifa?
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay.
Okay, I'm not hearing you anymore, but hope you are hearing me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Did you hear the question?
Okay, thank you. Let me start by paying my condolence to the close to 8,000 Nigerians who have died this year on the road. And let me also take this opportunity to mention that a friend of mine died just this Monday on Abuja Road in the evening when his vehicle, his taxi, collided with a stationary truck that broke down and was left on the road unattended to. So those are just some of the situations we have. But most importantly, may their soul rest in perfect peace. On your question, I am not aware, and I don't think so, that the government ever made any decision to restrict vehicles of certain age. At least I've been in this scene for the past, let me say, like 15 to 20 years. I'm not aware, and I don't think the government will make such position because it really doesn't make sense. What is important is the state of the vehicle, not more of the age of the vehicle. A vehicle that is 2020 could be not good for the road. And so it's not, and that's why you have the vehicle inspection services to do what it needs to do. So having said that, I also want to agree with the corps commander and the professor in Lagos on those issues they have highlighted. But let me add that there is now additional 2 E's to add to what should be. We now need to add engineering and engagement. Engineering, like Professor Odewunmi said, has to do with design of roads and intersection. He has mentioned Otedola, and what he did not tell you was that in 2010 or 2011, the Lagos State government engaged with Lagos State University, where he was teaching, not the dean then, and then the Lagos University of Lagos, and we did a transect study on that road, and got all the things you have mentioned. And for 5 years after that, there was no single accident at that point because all those issues were addressed. The issues that were not addressed is still there, and that is the exit from the Otedola estate that hits that road at 90 degrees, and that is what distracts the drivers coming down the hill. And that was, I believe, must be responsible for the last incident about a month or two ago. Also to mention on the issue of age of vehicle is that we should not fixate on the age. We should we should be concerned about the status, the vehicle, the state of the vehicle. And even if the state of the vehicle is good, if the road user, the driver, is not in good comportment or qualified to manage that vehicle, because 90% of these fatalities can be taken care of by the driver.
Well,
But let me
Dr.
say this
Opeifa,
before we go ahead.
It goes to the same issue, if you would permit me. For instance, one of the major issues that's been mentioned is, well, we'll still come back to, the sector commander in Lagos about the age of the vehicles that should be on the road or not. But talking about the enforcement that you mentioned, you talked about the vehicle inspection service. I'm a little, befuddled by the fact that we have them, yet the vehicles, especially in Lagos, I mean, I have been to Ibadan, I've been to parts of Ogun State, I've been to some parts of the north as well, and it will be like this is a major national problem of enforcement. But Lagos has been seen, as the sector commander said here, as a nation within a nation. So we have a vehicle inspection service, and people see some vehicles on the roads, and they see the vehicles that VIO officers stop, the vehicle inspection officers stop on the road, and I'm like, you let that one go, and you're accosting this one. What's the problem here? So speak to us about that one.
I agree. That takes us back to what the professor said. He mentioned enforcement, and I'm going to say enforcement. The problem here is systemic. We have a situation where the nation, and I want to say it here, that for every incident of road accident, injury or death on the road, all of us are responsible, and we all share part of the responsibility. Recently, drivers in Lagos protested against the traffic management authority, complaining of extortion. It's not extortion. They are complaining about too much enforcement. And I'm going to say to those traffic enforcement agents, please don't slow down. Enforce 10 times the more, because we need to get those rickety vehicles. We need to get those bad drivers. We need to get those people who are not ready to comply with the law. We need to get them off the road. So when I say system, is that we need to adopt a safer road safety systems, where we need to put up policies, regulations, laws, and put up a system that makes all the agencies of government, individuals, NGOs, civil society, everybody to be involved in the management of that system. Until we get to that stage, we'll continue to see all those rickety commercial vehicles on the road. We need to get them out of the road at any cost. We must not allow them. If somebody is driving a vehicle that is not supposed to be on the road, and for commercial purpose for that matter, it tells you that the man in himself is not okay. Probably he's on paraga, he's on drugs. So we need to put up a system that educates Nigerians from the level of GSS 3 to start understanding what road safety is all about. It's about everything. It's about all of us. The guy on the other road, you may be doing the right thing. If the guy on the other road is not doing the right thing, he can kill you. Yeah. And that's what happened to that, my friend. The vehicle was stationary on the road. His driver ran into it. The driver did not die. He died. So I think the system must wake up, not only Lagos, all the states in the federation must maintain the same standard. And that's where we get to Federal Road Safety Corps, because they have the responsibility by the Constitution, by the law. And they also have to wake up. They've done fantastically well, but they need to do more. They need to build systems and ensure that all states of the federation are complying with that system and that rules and regulation. And not just that Lagos. Lagos built a system. FCT built a system. Kaduna is building a system by their own. The FRSC, the apex organization responsible for road safety in Nigeria, and the Federal Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Transportation must also do something. They must ensure states are up to the same level, because a driver license from Lagos is qualified for you to drive anywhere in Nigeria. A driver license from another state in Nigeria that is not complying is qualified for you to drive in Nigeria. A road safety certification from any part of Nigeria is qualified to be acceptable in every part of Nigeria. Therefore, we must put up a system that sees road safety as one all over the world. That's the way they treat safety issues. It's national. It's not based on region or state and once even Lagos is not at its best, as we have mentioned. If you still see those downfall, those kind of all those vehicles who are not up to standard. So as far as I'm concerned, the system is not okay, and we can do better.
Commander, how much cooperation is there between the road safety and other agencies such as the VIO, for instance? And I ask this because I have often seen commercial vehicles with what's this thing called now? Nylon as their rear screens. I have seen private cars with nylon as their rear screens. So even if the VIO says that they qualify and that they're roadworthy, when they drive past road safety, what happens? Does road safety allow them to go because they have certification by the VIO?
No. We actually, the aspect of vehicle inspection belongs to the VIS, that's Vehicle Inspection Service. Notwithstanding, FRSC booster vehicle inspection through our free vehicle safety checks. We do that every month. We check vehicles, there's a checklist that we will have to complete. And if any defect is seen in that vehicle, the owner of the vehicle will not be surcharged, he will not be fined.
How do you determine which vehicles to test like that?
No, we just stopped a vehicle, we do random check. We check random. Then there's work of VIS. We have a center, even office there at Ojodu, we call it Lagos State Vehicle Inspection Center, where people bring their vehicle before you can have your roadworthiness certificate. Yeah. People are coming and they are actually inspecting them. This one you are talking about, how they manage to escape this and still be on the road, is what Mr. Opeifa just said now. The other time, I think about 3 months back, we saw a vehicle moving in Ogun State with only 3 tires.
Yeah. That was on social media. So everybody saw that.
Our commercial had to give us a matching order to look with trace that vehicle. We were able to get where the vehicle was registered. We got the owner of the vehicle. The man said he has already sold it to another person, and then the thing continued. We were able to arrest the man eventually. How can somebody moving with 3 wheels?
That wasn't the first one.
Another person carrying canoe on the roof of the vehicle. We have been seeing things.
And a cow in front of an Okada rider.
So many, but we cannot always get them. It's not every time we can be getting all of them, but the one we can get, they are being brought to book. We don't compromise this issue of traffic violation.
Maybe you should make a bit more noise about it so that people get to hear and know that they cannot do such things.
Yes, part of the noise we are making is we don't just, FRSC don't just enforce, we educate, we enlighten people. We go to church, we go to mosque, we go to parks, we go to, part of what we are doing, we do what we call domesticated public enlightenment. We take the thing to churches, to mosque, to worship center, to parks. Then we do what we call early morning safety cry. We go to the parks every morning to talk to both the passengers and the drivers and the transport unions for them to understand the implication of certain things they are doing and the implication of certain they're supposed to do they have not done. And aside that, we still do go to what do you call it? We go to traditional institutions. We go to opinion leaders. We talk to opinion leaders, youth leaders. Let them know that working against the law will not do them good.
How much are you achieving with all this advocacy that you're doing? I mean, seeing as Prof. and Dr. Opeifa have said to us that most of them are on drugs. And alcohol is the least powerful of the kind of drugs that they're on.
Yes,
so who's checking those drivers?
Everybody's checking. We are always working with the NDLEA. We recently, BIA sectorial group, they carried out a rally. They have been doing the enlightenment for responsible drinking. When you want to drink, you don't need to drive, all those things. Those ones they're ongoing. But at the same time, we have breathalyzer with which we do test some of these drivers at the park before they even went back on journey. So we test them to see the level of alcohol in their blood.
Is there
As soon
any-
as they move from the park, they would
Exactly.
drive 10 kilometers, park, and have a little swig.
It's possible. It's possible. People have been saying, it's not only alcohol. We have some psychoactive substances, illicit substances that people are taking
Tramadol.
that you cannot even. Then there are some
Detect.
you cannot even detect.
Oh, wow.
Those are the problems we're having. But it is not enforcement this time around. But we need to sensitize them. We need to educate them.
Something you said earlier that Mr. Franklin, that someone is reacting to here. Bring him back. Lillian says in a mail that she sent to us, I want to bring to your attention the impunity of uniformed men who drive one way
Against traffic.
around the Jibo axis. I almost had a head-on collision with one of them as I was coming out of the road by Go Bus Park. He even had the authority asking me to clear from the
Temerity.
way. These evil men are not above the law. They must be stopped.
You are right.
No, she's right.
Okay, she's right. I think we should respect the rule of law, whether you wear uniform or not.
Perhaps the question is in what Alera asked you earlier about collaboration with other agencies. We know road safety cannot do it all alone. For instance, I don't know if road safety has started carrying arms.
No.
Some of these people that she's talking about, they do carry arms. And they're driving against traffic and telling the person who is in the right way, get out of the road.
Get out of my way.
So, anyway, let me ask, because I don't want you to be like I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, this comes down to the issue of education, enlightenment, enforcement. Those three things, and we are all involved. I always say I've come for the press today again. You see, the truth is, enlightenment, the most powerful agent of enlightenment of these people is the media.
Sir, on that, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Our job is to inform, educate, and enlighten. However, how do you enlighten someone who believes he knows?
Yeah.
Is it to say that a policeman or a gun-bearing agent does not know that this is bad, wrong even, against the law to drive against traffic?
For that particular one, it's now enforcement. Once there is sanction for infraction, look, anybody will tell you now in Lagos, there are cameras, some will do eyes all over the place. You violate getting your vehicle license on time, just that day you will get an alert. So there must be a way to enforce. But there is something peculiar about Lagos, which I want Lagosians and the Lagos state government to pay attention. Because of the large number which the commander mentioned, 5,000 daily, you will discover that the information has to be very, very, very constant, because of those who are coming in who has not heard of Lagos laws. Therefore, we must find a way. I was having a discussion with one of the directors in the traffic radio that you have to do more, because what you think, we have repeated these jingles, everybody will have known it. I said no, there are now 5,000 coming again tomorrow to join who are ignorant of your laws. So in addition to that, signages in Lagos is not enough.
Sure.
Signages are not enough, especially construction site road management logistics is inadequate, and this has to do with the firms, the contractors. They need to be told these things you can't do anywhere. You are constructing, you just discover that they just block the road, narrow the road without giving immediate alternative. Gridlock needs to be there because there is a traffic. So we need to really, then we too, we are guilty for education. Although for the Chartered Institute of Transport Administration, we are joining the FRSC to go to the marketplace, to the park, and to enlighten. It can never be too much. we have to continue, because that's what can help us at the base. Then improving our licensing. There's been lots they have done in order to remove people getting it from their bedroom, to have training and retraining and retraining.
Yeah.
We cannot be satisfied. Then I want to mention one little factor about Lagos. I think, and Opeifa may disagree with this, their fines are too heavy, that it brings corruption rather than bring compliance.
Yes.
You see, if for the FRSC laws, they catch you, they are 10,000, 15,000, people can pay legitimately. They say if you pay, go and pay, and you get delayed, you watch television. But Lagos, the fines of Lagos states are too heavy. So people do become so desperate that they want to pay. For example, if your offense is,
they'd rather bribe.
That is it. They want to impound
pay
your
the
vehicle.
fine. Yes.
The only thing is to do all it takes to satisfy. You drive one way and they say, look, they should reduce the sanction for Lagos. But generally in the country, I think the federal government should, because what you did not say, which I want to say on behalf of the media, is that their airtime is not free. They use generator so let government pay for.
Management is proud of you.
Yeah. They are using their petrol to transmit, so they won't do it for free. Engage them, contract them, pay them to have a program for 30 minutes in a day, a strong platform like channels. If you repeat something on daily basis, just about even 5 to 10 minutes, not 30 minutes.
Please help me tell Mr. Farinloye.
Yeah, so I'm sure you have to call to them, but I'm sure Mr. Farinloye too will say you should have a budget for it. That's the most important thing.
Okay. Well, Mr. Opeifa, you listened to some of these things. Yes. Someone actually, another person sent a mail, another mail, which you may want to respond to, Mr. Opeifa, and that's also, of course, talking about the road issues that we have been. I know you want to say a thing or two about the one we just heard. Cosmas Tobore says, in discussing road safety during the Ember months, the very first issue to be sorted is the bad roads that are in terrible states. Can you imagine? The bad roads are in terrible states. Any other measure can never be effective when the roads remain death traps. And I know that this is not an issue just for Lagos, it's something all over the nation. So you want to speak to that perhaps in winding down?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I want to agree with that fellow who sent in that question. And also to say that, I will repeat again, we need to build a system that prevents accidents, and that when accidents occur, the injuries will not be too much. And if there are injuries, there should be no deaths. And if there are injuries, there should be a system that will make sure that lives are saved. One, we need to build safer roads. Our roads, as it is currently, many are not safe. So we need to put in system that does regular road safety audit. Road safety audit not by government employees, by people that are external, not by FRSC, by a third party to comply with the guidelines of FRSC. Number two, if you watch the roads on Nigerian roads now, if you watch Nigerian roads in the last 8 years, the last minister for works did a fantastic job by introducing signages, introducing lane marking. Our roads lack, like Professor said, lacks the feedback mechanism to be safe. No lane marking, no traffic signal light, no traffic signages, except for Lagos, Federal Capital Territory, and some of our federal roads that have been recently constructed. And maybe Kaduna State and some of us, not more than 10 states, are actually complying with putting signages on road. So we need to make our road to talk if we want to reduce accidents. Let me say here, road injuries is now regarded as a disease. 1.3 million people die annually from road accidents, more than the number of people that die from malaria. So you can imagine the number we have for Lagos, for Nigeria. By the time you just support that number against many of our diseases, road deaths are more than many of our diseases. And that's not including Okada. The figures you have probably does not have all the accidents in inner parts of our road and Okada. Then the third thing is what the professor was alluding to, the road users, safer road users. The driver licensing system at the level of the states is terrible. The motor vehicle administration system is terrible. We need to make sure that every state in Nigeria have a driver licensing and motor vehicle administration agency removed from the Board of Internal or Inland Revenue. It should agreed. It is a revenue item, but while we are going after the revenue, we must be concerned about the safety aspect. Apart from less than 10 states, I doubt if we have a proper driver licensing and the motor vehicle administration system in the country. Then on the issue of that also dovetail into the safer vehicles. Our vehicle inspection system has improved. Now we have computerized system. We must also commend the Federal Road Safety Corps for putting up a lot of guidelines, the National Road Safety Strategy and all those things. But the Road Safety Corps, the various ministries of transportation, all our governors must take road safety as a major. It is a health challenge. We are losing 3 to 5% of our annual GDP to road accidents. These are confirmed data by the World Health Organization, by the United Nations, by the World Economic Forum. So if we are to develop, if we are to save life, if we are to improve on productivity, we need to put much more interest on road safety. And in closing, I also want to say that we must take road traffic education. I'm not saying put it in the curriculum. I'm saying make it an extra co-curricular activity. From JSS 3, Nigerian students should be asked to do a term paper, something like go and write something about road safety. Let them just get used to it. If we cannot start at primary education, we should be. I know it's already in civic education. I'm familiar with the curriculum. It's already in social studies. But let's, at JSS 3, every Nigerian, regardless of which part of the country, should do a paper, should be asked to go and do investigation. You can do it on the internet or anywhere on road safety activity. Now, beyond that, the road safety clubs that started in schools must go back. We must go back to it. If we don't develop this attitude from childhood, early study age, we are going to mess up. Now, on the issue of drugs, believe me, nobody is doing any drug test, seriously now. The one we do at the park, to me, is good enough. It's good, but not good enough. We need to find a way to make sure that people who are on drugs don't get behind the wheel. And the way is to keep this enlightenment, education, and engagement. It is not the one that will go to the media.
Right, so let's quickly, we have quite a number of mails that have come in already. Udo sent this one, says, well, let me first of all read a few. Major reason for road carelessness is because our law enforcement agencies are too corrupt. I think someone said that earlier. Self-interest is the major reasons they are there. They are there not for anything. That's from Fola. I think that buttresses what you said the other time, Mr. Farinloye. Another person says, one area we're looking away from is the tendency that jingle sensitization still gets to people who are not really the target audience. During sensitization, do you see addicts attending? And how many officers want to see these laws not broken? Mr. Farinloye mentioned that earlier. It's more of what they can get from the area they were posted to man. So an officer is praying that the area will be asked to go. He will be asked to go will be a place he can get his salary in one day. Until this ideology is stopped, harmonization is far. But this one is a direct question to you. It's from Udo. It says, please ask your guests, is vehicle inspections for private vehicles only? I have never seen a commercial vehicle in VIS stations. On FRSC, I have never seen FRSC personnel ensuring free flow of traffic other than stop and check. The sad part is that the FRSC vehicles are not roadworthy, oh dear, yet they are checking other vehicles. I don't think Udo is calling from Lagos. send this one from Lagos. You want to respond to that? First of all, the vehicle inspection.
Yes, the issue of...
In 1 minute, please.
Yes.
We've run completely out of time.
The issue of vehicle inspection. There is no way the vehicle will be certified roadworthy if it's not inspected. So I wouldn't know what he is talking about. Where he went to, that he did not see commercial vehicle being inspected. Then on the issue of road safety not doing, what do you call it, traffic control, it's making a mistake. In Lagos, we have Operation Orange Impact. When you see FRSC men wearing reflective jacket, orange reflective jacket, and they line the routes to ensure free flow of traffic, during this consortium, you knew what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We did a very great job along this Lagos Expressway because...
Even if you say so yourself, but
well,
never mind.
Yes,
I think it's safe to say that
we tried our best.
Oh no, you definitely are. I think it's safe to say that this is part one because really, perception is reality for some people.
Yes.
All the wonderful work that you have done, all the partnerships that you're getting, this is what people are getting. That's why they're sending. We don't usually get these mails this many. Right? Okay, but we'll close right now, but I'm supposed to read this one. Yes, and we just want to read. What is the justification for demanding roadworthiness while Lagos roads are not motorable? Igbe, Berigbe, Ijede are examples. Even the road that leads to VIO's office at Odewunmi is bad. None of you in this place can answer that question.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming to enlighten us this morning. Like he said, this is part one.
Yeah.
We're still about 5 weeks to Christmas. We will hope that we can talk about this again closer to the period when people actually start leaving town.
Especially on enlightenment and enforcement and education.
That's right.
All of us are involved.
Road safety.
And I want road
We
safety to
expect you to come on air and talk more about this. Use more jingles to make people aware of what they're supposed to do, how to get their cars ready for travel, and all that. Thank you very much for coming. The Corps Commander, Federal Road Safety Lagos Command, Mr. Babatunde Farindoye. And also with us this morning in the studio was Professor Odewunmi, Professor of Transport Planning and Policy, and Dr. Kayode Opeifa, a well-known face when it comes to transportation, joined us from Abuja, and he is now the Executive Director of the Center of Sustainable Mobility and Access Development. Thank you all very much, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. We hope to see you before Christmas.
Definitely. We'll be glad to be.
And for you at home, we hope that this has been beneficial to you, and at least you have a few tips as to how to prepare for your trips during these Ember months. Sunrise will be right back. Do stay with us.